Good morning and welcome to a special edition of Face the Nation devoted entirely to Hurricane Irma, which has made its first landfall in the U.S. in Cudjoe Key, Florida. We have a team of CBS News correspondents in the Miami area and on the Florida Gulf Coast following Irma's expected path. But we begin with meteorologist Eric Fisher, who works for our Boston station WBZ. He's in our New York studio. Eric, where is Irma right now and where is she headed?
Well, John, we've been tracking it throughout this morning, crossing the lower Keys. It made that landfall as a Category 4 near Cudjoe Key, which is right about in here between Key West and Big Pine Key. That's where we've seen some of our strongest winds. It's the first time on record we've had two Category 4 hurricanes make landfall in the United States in the same season. Harvey just a couple of weeks ago. But you see those bands moving in across South Florida. We've seen gusts up to 100 miles per hour in Miami. So even well away from the center, we're seeing those destructive winds. And now you see that eye of the storm where the strongest winds really reside, lifting north away from Big Pine Key and heading up towards southwest Florida, approaching places like Marco Island, as well as Fort Myers area and Naples. That'll be some of the first spots to see conditions really go downhill. So here's some of the latest stats. Still 130 mile per hour winds. It's moving northwest at 8 miles per hour, and it's working its way now just off to the east-northeast of Key West. And you see on satellite a very impressive hurricane. So here's the latest track. It'll be just straddling the coast of Florida. It arrives right around Naples midday to early afternoon, and then it rides up towards Sanibel, Captiva, Fort Myers area, and then up toward Tampa as we head into the overnight, and then up to the Big Bend of Florida as we head into the day tomorrow. So there's a ways to go, and those strong winds will last well inland. There are tropical storm warnings out in places like Atlanta, Georgia. That's a new product, tropical storm warnings for inland areas. That started in 2000. It's the first time Atlanta's been under one. So there, look at the peak winds, and we could see some of those gusts over 120 miles per hour, especially right along that southwest coast of Florida. A storm that's typical, or I should say similar, to Donna. Donna was a hurricane that came across the Keys as a Cat 4, the last Cat 4 in the Keys on this date, which is also the peak of hurricane season back in 1960. And you can see those strong wind gusts well inland, even into Orlando. We could look at some gusts over 80 miles per hour, and those strong winds extending to the east coast of Florida. Again, impacts well away from the center. Some of the peak winds so far, 120 miles per hour around Big Pine Key. We've also seen many gusts over 80, 90 miles per hour in South Florida. And we're also talking about the rain. Rain up to a foot in spots across Florida, but that heavy rain will extend into Georgia, Alabama, even into parts of South Carolina. And when you bring in those strong winds combined with the rain, we're talking about numerous power outages, over 1 million so far. That number, certain decline.
All right, Eric, thanks so much for that update.